Coming up on today's show, we'll be talking about National Cinema Day, where you can check out all movies in all formats for just £3.
We'll be telling you about Batman Day, where you can check out The Dark Knight in 4DX.
Plus, there's loads of other movies that are out this month as well, including The Equalizer 3, The Expendables 4, and so much more. Hello and welcome to What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. I'm Luke Owen.
I'm Dan Layton.
We are here in the O2.
That we are.
And I cannot wait because we've got quite a month to talk about here.
Oh yeah. Don't just think because it's September, we're all going to go back to school and forget about you. We've got a lot to talk about.
There's a Cinema Day.
There's a Batman Day.
There's a whole host of movies out as well.
And in many different formats.
Dan, we've already got our snacks.
Yeah.
I've got my drink.
This is how prepped we are. We didn't have time to go and get them. We had to make sure.
I've got my yellow, Dan.
You got it. Well, then in that case, why?
Well, let's go. Let's go. Dan, as is customary for What's On, I'm going to have a little bit of yellow if you don't mind.
Of course you are.
Of course
and in the
I am.
meantime, shall I tell the people that we have a very exciting day coming up?
You please do. And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my nachos while I listen to you tell me about that.
I think that's a good idea because otherwise we're all going to sit here in uncomfortable silence and watch you chew. But we will sit in comfortable silence together as a group on the 2nd of September for the return of National Cinema Day. It's a very exciting thing that's coming up. It is a wonderful celebration of going to the pictures all over the country. And the primary thing that I want to let you guys know about is that you'll be able to get tickets for some incredible movies for the low, low price of just £3 English, Scottish, Welsh, or indeed Ulster pounds.
Sorry, can I just get you to say that again?
Yes.
Just £3?
Just £3.
But what if I want to go see IMAX?
Well, you could just pay £3.
What? If I want to go see 4DX?
Yeah, it's £3.
Screen X?
£3 English pounds.
Super screen.
Also pounds. 3 of them.
A regular screen?
A regular screen would be £3.
Every single format, just £3.
Doesn't matter. I'm telling you, whatever film you want to see, whatever screen you want to see it in, £3.
I was pretending that I didn't know that.
That was performance art.
It was very, and I thought I was quite convincing in that as well. Because I've been genuinely excited about this for a while now because I loved Cinema Day last year.
Yes.
I had a great time because you do get to, it's a great way for you to experience formats that you might not have tried previously. Like, so if you haven't tried IMAX or you haven't tried 4DX, I think it's like some people are a little bit wary on 4DX. This is a great time to go and try it.
Even if you have seen a movie, but you were like, I didn't get to see that in the format I wanted to because of whatever reason, you can try it again now. You can go and see that. So like, you saw Oppenheimer in a regular screen, perhaps you couldn't get a ticket to the IMAX because it was all so busy. Well, now you have the opportunity to go and see it in IMAX for just £3. And it's not £3 plus £3 for IMAX, it's just £3.
However, and this is great, because Barbie's still out.
Yeah.
So you could go and do Barbenheimer for just £6.
There you go.
£6.
Happy days.
And for this special day as well, we've got a nice combo deal on as well. So you can get a regular drink and regular popcorn for £4, or you can go large for £1 extra. So which means you can splurge out on a day at the cinema with a film in any format, with a large drink and a large popcorn for £8.
£8.
You can see The Equalizer 3 and Oppenheimer in IMAX.
If you want to try 4DX, you can see The Equalizer 3, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, or Meg 2, The Trench.
Well, we all know what you'll be going to see, which will be the Meg 2.
Yeah, I'll be crying.
Yeah, and I'll be there sitting TMNT.
Yeah.
And you can go check out Gran Turismo, Meg 2, The Trench, or Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 in Screen X.
And I know because I spoke to Tom Cruise that Mission Impossible in Screen X is going to be incredible.
Sorry, did you mean Tom Cruise?
I have not mentioned it too much. But in the meantime, on Super Screen, you can check out The Equalizer 3 and, of course, Barbie.
And still playing will be Blue Beetle, Strays, Haunted Mansion, Gran Turismo, Meg 2, Barbie, Oppenheimer, and TMNT Mutant Mayhem on regular old cinema screens.
Regular old, but still classic.
That is a lot to choose from.
Yeah, you've got a whole roster of films.
You could if you plan out your day really well.
Yeah.
Because obviously Barbenheimer's a good one to do in there. And it's quite a long film about Oppenheimer. Maybe I'm just being my time optimist.
You do love that.
I'd try and squeeze in a third.
Oh yeah.
Possibly even a fourth in it. If you can time this right, I reckon you could probably do 3 or 4.
Make a spreadsheet is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Check out your maybe even make a spreadsheet of times between two cinemas, because if there's a cinema near you that is showing, you've got your local cinema that's showing the movies, but you don't quite have the time for the third one based on their screenings, maybe another Cineworld does have the screening at a more convenient time. You could experience all the things.
Hold on, Dan. Are you trying to tell me that this is not localized to the great O2 Cineworld cinema?
No, it is literally across the country, Luke. It's national. That's what the word national means. Across these great British Isles.
Man, what a great deal.
Huge.
But outside of the excitement of National Cinema Day on September 2nd, this coming Friday on the 28th sees the release of the Equalizer 3 and the first slam dunk. So the Equalizer 3, I think, is a very exciting one because it's Denzel back in this role once again. And I really like the first two. It's great to see him back again.
I just like Denzel. Like, I'm never going to say no. And the legacy continues with John David Washington, which, we're going to get later on anyway.
But if you're thinking I'm not really sure on either one of those, I'm in the mood for an old classic.
Please.
And this makes me feel like I have got one foot in the grave.
The floor's yours.
Well, no, what I more mean is that time is, time is catching up with us all. It is the 30th anniversary screening of Jurassic Park. I went to see that at the Pictures when it first came out.
Did you?
I did. It was
goodness.
So here's a fun story about me going to see Jurassic Park. My dad was a big fan of the book, Michael Crichton's book.
It's a great book.
It is a great book.
Yeah.
And so he was slightly concerned that, maybe it'll be a bit scary for the wee nipper.
Right.
I was 7. So it's like, maybe it'll be a bit scary for the small one.
It's a proper intense book.
And, but he was like, do you know what? It's Spielberg. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Jaws was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure this will be fine for the wee one. And so it took me, and he was a little bit concerned, but my older brother wanted to go as well. And during the opening scene where the velociraptors break out of that cage and drag the man in, I buried my face into my father's arm to try and hide myself away from the screen. And my dad thought, I've made a mistake.
It's interesting because I actually didn't see Jurassic Park until I was much older.
You're so youthful.
Well, yeah, I was too young when it came out. No,
Yeah.
I don't even know why I didn't catch it on home video or anything like that. But when it
Just
was
because you're so youthful and you don't know what home video is.
probably is, but they had a few rep screenings of it, and so I did go to my local Cineworld and I did see the film, and I was also burying my face in the arm of my companion.
I did then remove my head, and I enjoyed the film
Eventually.
eventually. Hilariously, I was then talking to my friend about it the following day because he also went to go see it on the same day, and he was talking to me about that opening scene, and I did not remember it because I'd completely blocked it out from my mind. I was so scared by it. I can tell you about the rest of the film because I enjoyed it so much. It became legit top 3 movies of all time for me.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible. It's like it's so much of it lives in the sort of just lexicon of film. Like we all have. If you ever see a tumbler of water trembling, you know what it is. If you ever see even like jump scares and things like that, you can see references to the eye and the window.
Here's my big bold claim: it's Steven Spielberg's best movie.
Whoa! That is a big bold claim.
By leaps and bounds.
Whoa! You're gonna make it even bigger and bolder?
Yep.
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's definitely in the conversation.
Yeah.
It's because it is all things. It's the family movie. It's an epic. It's a bit of interesting science fiction.
Great practical effects in there as well.
Exactly.
Great animatronic work in there.
And it is a bit of a scary one as well. So it literally is all of the things he does so well combined in one film. It's definitely in the conversation.
The following week on September 8th, a movie I know you're very, very excited about, The Nun 2.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Why don't you tell me about how much you love the first one, Dan?
Oh, I love horror films. They don't do anything to me, nor do they keep me up at night.
If this is your first time watching What's On, first off, shame on you. Go and check out all the other ones in the archive. But second off, I'm kidding, of course. Second off, Dan's a bit of a scaredy cat.
Look. Yeah. I was going to try and fight that, but no, it's true.
Well, we came here today we also filmed some 4DX trailer reactions because this is available to watch in 4DX.
Yep.
I was talking to the staff here and they said, what are you watching in 4DX? And I said, we're going to watch The Nun 2. And they were like, I bet you Dan's going to be a bit scared. And I was like, you should have seen him during The Haunted Mansion, which is a movie made for kids.
Look, I recognize that. But it's still scary. It's not just because it's made for kids doesn't mean that the jump scare isn't effective. If a joke is told for kids, it's still funny. The same is true of horror. Look, when things are scary, they're scary. And it's in the trailers especially, They're going for letting you know this is a horror film. They want you to be excited. They want you to have a bit of fun with the horror elements of it so that you can go and see the movie, which means that all of the jump scares are packed into the trailer, and I am a little tiny baby boy. So I get scared of them, all right? It works on me very well. I don't do well with horror film, which is hilarious when you consider that my best essay in my film degree was about horror movies. I've studied them. I think it's incredible as a genre. I think it permeates all of filmmaking. I think it should be taken more seriously. I hate it.
Well, I didn't hate The Nun. I thought The Nun was a great movie. I really like the Conjuring universe. It's one of my favorite things to come out. Like, the Conjuring movies are awesome in their own right.
And the other thing with your sort of horror franchises, and we see it with another film we've got coming out this month, is that you don't necessarily need to have checked off them all to be able to get, there's lore and there's connections, and they all exist in this like kind of parallel rather than in a direct line. So you can kind of go and see The Nun 2 and without having seen all the other ones and have that kind of whole complete experience. I'll go and see it. I'll just need a week off afterwards.
Well, maybe you could go down the road instead, and down the road I mean down the hall in Cineworld Cinemas, and go and watch My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Yeah. Well, the first two didn't work out. First two weddings, divorce, get back together. So it's a little family reunion, a continuation of the Big Fat Greek Wedding comedy japes.
We're talking more about cinematic universes.
The
continued lore of My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
I love a film set in a nice hot country. It's why Mamma Mia is one of my favorites of all time, because tell me that's not the most joyous thing.
It's genuine escapism.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like watching Wish You Were Here, but with some very likable characters on screen.
And I haven't been able to go on holiday this year, and we haven't exactly had the best summer in the UK. So any hints of blue sky? I like Greece. Greece was where we used to go a lot as a kid, so I have a lot of Kalaspera, Kalimera, Kalinikta. That just means good morning, good night, good evening. But I know it.
Well,
the logaritmo paracolo.
But if maybe that's not your cup of tea, maybe go down a screen afterwards. And this is genuinely my pick for this week as well. Past Lives.
Oh, yes.
I actually haven't seen this film yet.
Right.
But I know some friends of mine have been to see it. And my wife was like desperate to show me the trailer for this movie because she was really excited. She'd heard nothing but good things about it as well. This is touted to be, and has been like really heavily pushed by a lot of people online, this is movie of the year.
Yeah.
And in a year that has had some big contenders for movie of the year, you watch this trailer and you're like, oh, I can see why this might end up being a lot of people's movie of the year. Greta Lee just looks spellbinding into this movie. I cannot wait to see this film.
Yeah, it's time to sort of put on good boy film hats here. And we had a laugh. It's not just in terms of the writing, which has always been of such a high standard. The performances are incredible. The cinematography is incredible as well. And this movie with Greta Lee, who has had a great career on television, you might know from what we do in the Shadows, the morning show, she's getting this big screen moment. And I'm very excited, and I love that it's got that kind of movie of the year energy.
Honestly, like the trailer for this, it tells you a very compelling story of that what if.
Right.
It's almost like, people refer to that sliding doors moment of what kind of led you to this point that you're in now? What would your life have looked like had you stayed together with a previous person? I'm so excited for this movie. Week after that, on the 15th of September, I'm going to pass this one over to you now because this is very much within your wheelhouse of A Haunting in Venice.
Yes. So this is the latest in the Poirot series from Kenneth Branagh. We had Murder on the Orient Express, we had Death on the Nile, and now we have A Haunting in Venice, which is based on the Halloween Poirot story that Agatha Christie wrote. They always have this whole thing in cinema of Christopher Nolan gave us the Dark Knight trilogy, and in return Warner Brothers thanked him by letting him make Inception, right? I feel like Kenneth Branagh gave us Belfast to do a lot of Oscar-y kind of like awards contention, because what he wants to do more than anything else is make Agatha Christie movies, because he's having the time of his life. This is the third one. And what's really fascinating about it is a lot of people are very excited to see it without realizing. They're talking about that Michelle Yeoh horror film. and they don't realize that it's an Agatha Christie plot as well. So it's got that. It's getting a lot of new eyes on it, which I think is really interesting.
That's again the power of, we were talking about like Asian cinema coming over to the West. Like that has really given Michelle Yeoh this whole new platform to a whole new generation.
I mean,
fans.
this is it. She's been doing the work for years. It's just thank God everyone's finally paying attention.
Finally,
she won the Oscar. She's just brilliant. I mean, she was in the Marvel movie recently, and in this film, it is just further adventures of the mustache. Kenneth Branagh in a lovely horror-based murder mystery. You know how much I love a murder mystery. I know how much you love a murder mystery because you made Knives Out so big because people have come out in their droves to see things like A Haunting in Venice. Sorry, to see things like Death on the Nile, see things like Murder on the Orient Express. Yeah, it's gonna be big.
And speaking of the continued adventures, Rise of the Foot Soldier: Vengeance is also out. Would you believe it? This is the 6th movie in this franchise.
Goodness, how prolific.
But the day after, on September 16th, we talk about continuing adventures.
Yep.
You mentioned Nolan and his Dark Knight.
Oh, hello.
It's Batman Day, everyone!
That's what I'm talking about.
No, Batman Day. Here in Cineworld Cinemas, not only are we showing the movies that we've just been discussing, we're also going to be showing Batman 89, aka the best one,
Keaton,
The Dark Knight, and Joker.
Yeah.
All 3 movies back on the big screen. We just recently saw Keaton's Batman in The Flash.
That's very true.
So you can go see his origin.
Yeah.
Batman 89 on the big screen. Like, people might say, like, oh, you're just being a contrarian by saying that's the best. But genuinely, it's my favorite Batman. It's my favorite on-screen Batman movie.
I don't think it's contrarian at all. I think it's so different from. I mean, you can go and see all 3 of them and see different eras of movie making because there's the bombastic Dark Knight, and then there's there's Joker, which has a very recent energy. There's a lot of socio-political tension in there as well.
Good way to get you
on the villain.
Good way for you to get prepped for the sequel out next year.
And there's your all 3 have the 3 iconic Jokers in 3 completely different
true,
ways. I hadn't thought that.
I
just said it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you have the first one, which is comic booky. It kind of people talk about Spider-Man launching the comic book world. Put some flowers on Tim Burton's Batman in 1989 because it was so fresh and different. The use of miniature, the use of animation in there as well, the effects, the use of prints on the soundtrack. Thank you very much.
It's nothing but Prince.
Yeah.
And in fact, like at the moment, I've got Party Man running through my head because that's one of the iconic scenes from Batman 89 is Nicholson bursting into that room being like, "Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
Yeah.
Lawrence!" And they play Prince's Party Man, and it's awesome.
And then I actually recently watched the opening of The Dark Knight at home.
One of the most perfect openings in cinema history.
That's why I watched it, because I just wanted to remind myself because it was of that energy. And now here's the opportunity to go and see it on the big screen, which is fabulous, and I'll take it. Thank you very much.
The following week on September 22nd, The Expendables 4, or, well, you'll like this, the 4's in the title.
Is it?
Well, let's have a look at it here.
Expendables. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Expendables.
Expendables. I'm all about that. Expendables.
Expendables. It's available in IMAX and 4DX. So if you want to go see Stallone back up on the big screen, why not go see him in the biggest screen possible with the rest of the Expendables crew?
I know they want
which
to see it.
Also has got 50 cents in it this time around.
Love that.
We've also got animated adventures with the Canterville Ghost, and I'm kind of obsessed with this new era of cinema we're in, this sort of like weird biopic era where it's like, oh, it's recent history that we're doing now. When I was a kid and you watch biopics, it was for things that happened like, 50 odd years ago or like, 100 years ago, everything.
Yeah.
This is all like recent history. We had this with Air, and now we're getting this with Dumb Money, which is a movie about GameStop.
Dumb Money is massively recent, because there was a minute there where I was like, it actually was recent history when we were kids. We just don't have concept of time when we're young. But like we had The Big Short. It feels like this is going to be a very similar film to The Big Short in terms of its. So basically, it's a film about the GameStop stocks extravaganza, which took a mall video game store and turned into a big. Basically, it almost was a parody of Wall Street in a way that people were kind of taking. People got a little bit unrested and took it back. I'm not the most I don't do money and numbers. I'm not very clever with it. So
there's that bit in Trading Places where they tell me that they're doing well, but they say a lot of things that I don't understand.
And I'm sure many of you are correcting me in the comments as it goes. But it's America Ferrera coming hot off the heels of we went through the cast and had a look because it's a stacked cast.
Yeah,
Seth Rogen's involved.
Nick Offerman is there.
Paul Dano.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and because it is recent history, it's very recent history as well. I think it will kind of be almost feel a bit nostalgic for some people as well. Like
that nostalgic happens.
It's going to put you in a period of time. You're going to be like, oh, I remember this.
This was within the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, mad.
The following week after that, on September 29th, you and I just watched the trailer for this in 4DX. The Creator.
Yes, which looks to be sci-fi in the grand traditions of sci-fi. It's an epic, it's big in scale, it's worthy, it's got things to say about the state of the world we're in, even though it's in a world we're not in, if that makes sense. And it's got John David Washington in it. I like him a lot.
AI is a big thing at the moment.
Is it?
It's a big topic of conversation currently, and that is, topic du jour of this movie as well. This is AI rising up, taking over, a war against AI, but it's also people who kind of, AI took me in, like these robots took me in. I trust AI more than I trust humans. It's Gareth Edwards. It's going to be, it's bringing that magic that he brought with Rogue One.
Yes.
And he brought with the 2014 Godzilla movie as well.
I was about to say, I loved that Godzilla movie because there was a real humanity to that Godzilla movie.
And it reminded me a little bit of, because it's a bit dusty, that sort of District 9, sort of Neil Blomkamp's District 9 and stuff. So almost like an independent sci-fi movie that's been given this big budget to work with.
And I only judging from the trailer because that's all I've seen. It also has, again, Spielberg elements. I haven't actually seen AI, the Spielberg movie, but I've seen that kind of like epic scale. Like there's something about looking at it which feels so Star Warsy and feels very like traditional sci-fi movie in the cinematography and in the costume design and the production design. So I'm so beguiled by it.
Like even it's quite a simple concept. This whole AI takes over. We saw this with Terminator back in the 80s.
We saw it with Mission Impossible just now.
And Terminator 2, literally is the AI just detonates and it blows up Los Angeles. Like that's the iconic shot from Terminator 2. And yet you watch this movie and you're not like, oh, this just feels like a pastiche or a rip-off of Terminator 2 because it's bringing something brand new to the idea. Can't wait. Also released is The Old Oak. And Dan, you're excited for your horror movies, as has been well established. You've got a double header that you could do here. Please. Imagine doing this, Dan, as your Barbenheimer for the horror world.
Okay.
And you can go see literally the old and the new.
Yeah.
Because you could go to one screen and watch Saw 10.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And then just go down the hall and watch the 50th anniversary screening of The Exorcist.
I can't imagine a better day in my life.
I genuinely can't.
I know you absolutely can't.
That is what I will be doing.
Yeah. Saw 10, a good year for the 10th installments of certain massive franchises, isn't it?
Apparently so.
10,
yeah.
Saw 10. And The Exorcist, we recently lost Billy Friedkin. So it's going to have, for even people who've seen it many, many times.
Like me.
It's going to have an extra flavour to it now. And I can't say any more than's already been said about The Exorcist.
About The Exorcist. Well, of course, yeah. I can tell the story of when I was a teenager and I saw it for the first time when Channel 4 showed it.
Yeah.
And my friends taped it off the telly for us to watch because it wasn't allowed to be shown on TV here in the UK. And that shot with the face in the darkness and haunting me, haunting my dreams, and then just being like, I became obsessed with the movie. And like Mark Kermode has always said that it's like his favorite movie ever. Yeah. And if Kermode is telling you that it's the best movie ever made, then it's probably, and you've not seen it before, like this is a great time to go check out The Exorcist.
And I also think that a lot of the times those kind of images, like the face, they become part of the cinema lexicon. Like we all know it, we all talk about it, we all see, the poster is so famous, or we've seen the use of, it's Linda Blair, isn't it? I didn't want to say the wrong name. Linda Blair's make-upped face being used as a jump scare. You know that maze game that you'd play? Like it becomes part of the cultural conversation. Going and seeing them in context is always way, way more. It just makes everything a lot fuller.
We also have some special event screenings. We have an autism-friendly screening of Barbie on Sunday, the 3rd of September, and then we continue our celebration of Disney 100 by bringing classic Disney studio movies back to the big screen, like Peter Pan on Friday the 1st through Thursday the 8th.
101 Dalmatians from Saturday the 9th to Sunday the 10th.
The Jungle Book from Saturday the 16th through to Sunday the 17th. And finally, Toy Story, one of my all-time favorites, on Saturday the 30th and the 1st of October.
Do you know that you were talking earlier about Jurassic Park was one of the first films you saw in the cinema? Toy Story is the first film I ever saw in the cinema.
Was it really?
Very special. Yeah. I remember everything about it. I remember
Oh,
the
yeah.
sights, the sounds. I remember the smell of the popcorn. I remember going up. This was in the 90s. You had to go and buy a ticket. So there were no phones.
Oh, no.
There were no screens. We had to go
No
to a
touchscreens.
human being and say, "Excuse me, please may I have 3 tickets to see Toy Story?" One of them as a child.
Accurate representation of how Dan sounded in
It was the
1995.
Northwest, you know. So.
I have very vivid memories of Toy Story, seeing it on the big screen as well, because my brother, who is 6 years older than me,
Yeah.
had told my mum that I'm going to take our Luke to go and see Toy Story. And my mum then told me, oh, well, if you're nice to your brother, he might take you to go and see Toy Story. So the following day, I got up early and made him a cup of tea and made him breakfast and took it upstairs so we could have breakfast in
Wow.
bed. Because I wanted to go and see Toy Story, and I'd been told, if you're nice to your brother, he might take you to go and see the movie.
What a genius move from your mum. Your mum, 4D chess.
Yeah,
Love that.
it was great. And he did take me, and it was a great time.
There you go.
We also have a screening of Kang Daniel, My Parade on Sunday the 3rd.
Matthew Bourne's Swan Lake on Wednesday the 13th.
Madame Butterfly on the Lake on Thursday the 7th.
The Royal Opera House Live with Das Rheingold on Wednesday the 20th. And of course, their l'Elysée d'Amour on Thursday the 5th.
But that's all we've got time for on this edition of What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. If you want to check out any of the movies that we've discussed today, click the links in the video description down below.
And if you're a fan of this sort of thing and you'd like it in an audio fashion, go and find the podcast wherever you get your podcast from.
And we'll see you next month for more What's On at Cineworld Cinemas. I've been Luke Owen.
And I've been Dan Layton.
And that's What's On.